friendly and not necessarily friendly, but open to the conversation, hoping to be part of that. So, that's something that's a lot of that is understanding the communities you're talking to, the issues that face them, how to communicate with them. Like, for example, I do some volunteer work with Jewish organizations in the space, and in some like more right-wing Orthodox circles, the genders are very separate, and there were only men at the table. The second I walked up to the table, there was a line of mothers just asking me, how do I get a card? Do you know a doctor? And you have to understand, like, these are people who would just, these are people who would never have come up without understanding those community sensitivities. And that was the aha moment for me of like, well, how do you make this accessible? How are you communicating with the community that you're trying to convince that this is the right idea? So, in terms of stigma, I find it less and less. Part of it is a generational thing, I think. Part of it is, I think people know that this is an inevitability. Normalization is very real. Any show, I just binge watched season 2 of Shrill, and there was a lot of cannabis in it. Right? Like
I just started watching that.
It's so good. And so there's a lot of normalization, right? Nora from Queens just premiered, and the whole Aquafina is just like webcamming, like 420 webcam girls or whatever. Like it's very much, there's a normalization aspect to this where it's part of the conversation, and that's a little bit of a helper. So I'll be around for questions after. I'm happy to talk to anybody if you're curious about how you can transfer your skill set into an industry that needs your skill set. That's the most important thing. Are you a lawyer? Are you an accountant? Like, what skills do you have that you can transfer into the cannabis space, because we need you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just so you know, like, speaking in front of the room, like, I'm a ham, so I can do it all day long, right? But she actually does not like speaking in front of the room. Nope. So to give her a big hand. So like I said, we're gonna do Q&A afterwards. So I want to bring up our next speaker, because she's loaded with information. So we had done an event 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? 2 years ago, it was called Get to Know Women Grow. And basically what we did is we have people that are part of our community that have literally been part of our community since day one. A lot of them have grown businesses, transitioned from what they did before into now, so we just kind of wanted to spotlight. Plus, in reality, it was the summer, and no one ever comes out in the summer, so we were like, let's just have a party, basically, you know what I mean? And that was the meeting that Kimber came to. So I remember meeting her. She comes up to me, she's like, I do XYZ, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, all right. And then I kept seeing her, and I kept seeing her at every event. And then she was like, I've developed XYZ, you should try it. I'm like, okay. Next she was like, I'm gonna interview with blah blah blah, and I'm like, all right. I got a job at blah blah blah. I got promoted at blah blah. I'm like, what the hell? So here's what I say: when you have an opportunity, jump on it. Okay, because she came to Women Grow. She made some connections. She utilized those connections to the utmost possibility. So she'll give you her background, but I just want to introduce the amazing Kimber Arezzi.
So at my first Women Grow meeting, Stella was one of the people to actually speak. It was the first time that I had actually recognized that there were ancillary businesses in cannabis. I thought that everybody touched the plant and kind of didn't understand why you wouldn't want to touch the plant. But what I left realizing was that there were a lot of similarities in the cannabis space, whether you were a patient or somebody looking for a career, as there were similar to the special needs community. I'm an autism mom, and everything in my world is a spectrum. There are no black and whites, there are no yes and no's, and you never really know what the next day is going to bring to you. And that's sort of what working with cannabis is like. You're in an industry that's basically non-existent / ever evolving, depending which state you're looking at. If you're on the patient community, you're looking at utilizing a medication that you've had access to possibly your entire life, but now in our state, utilizing it in different forms that you've never actually been exposed to before. And then at the third time, you're trying to figure out what legalization could actually mean. So for me, it was coming here and saying, how do I become a part of this? How do I transition these job skills that I have that make me this great retail development person? And how do I do something other than create consumer products that people waste money on? And I came to Women Grow, and there were all of these people who had so many different ideas and thoughts, and you can do this and you can do that, and you just become addicted to it. And the truth is, why not you? Because the only person between you and no is you. There's no real industry here. It's all being set up. But my main priority was, I'm a patient. I'm a patient with a very rare autoimmune condition who, up until I became part of the medical cannabis patient community, took 23 pills a day. Nobody had any issue with me taking 23 pills a day, and nobody had any thought about the fact that I was still in pain every single day. And the pills were great because they helped my doctor manage my condition, but they created a myriad of other side effects that I then had to learn how to manage. And being a 28-year-old girl who goes from being perfectly healthy to wondering how the next days of your life are going to move forward changes everything. Sitting at a kitchen table on Sunday morning and counting out your pills with your fiance is not really that sexy of thinking about what your future is going to be. And I had this great doctor who's affiliated with the Mayo Clinic, and he was like, listen, you already smoke. Why don't we kind of try to keep track of what you're using and see what helps, what doesn't, and figure out what could work for you. And now I am 26 years later with the same condition. I'll have it for the rest of my life. And I still have pain, and I'm still uncomfortable, but every day I get to be present in my life. I get to be a mother to an 8-year-old who doesn't care on the days where my body feels like rubber bands are snapping inside of it. He doesn't care that I don't want to get up and move. I'm his mom. He wants to do Play-Doh and have art and have fun and have activities, and that's our job, to be present in our lives. So as I saw what cannabis could do for me as a patient, all of a sudden I just thought, how do you get up and go to work every day doing this job where you just help people spend money on shit, just consumer spending? How do I get involved in this? And I thought about something that they kept saying at that meeting at Women Grow in August. Just show up. All you have to do is you just have to show up. And I walked around that room during the networking, and there was a girl sitting there not talking to anybody. But the gentleman she was with, you would have thought he was the guy giving her away those samples, because everybody wanted to talk to this kid, Nick. And I wanted to talk to this girl, Stephanie. And Stephanie worked for one of the New York State dispensaries. And I said, I want to work for a New York State dispensary. And she said, oh, you have a real job. Why would you want to do this? It's a $15 an hour job. And so one day, if I'm going to be somebody in this, I have to know every area of where it starts from. If you worked at Walmart and you become a divisional manager, you used to ring a register, or you've never really moved up to understand what it's about. And I understand what it is to be a patient. So for the past 2 years, I've worked in the cannabis space. I've helped people understand what the qualifying conditions are within New York State. I've helped them become a part of the program, even when they've thought maybe the program isn't necessary and isn't exactly right for them. And I've put myself out there. I've put myself out there as a consumer, as a person who consumes, and as a patient. And every day that I do that, it means that I also open my door up to face that stigma, because everyone has an opinion. And the truth of the matter is, I opened the door. So I've allowed you to have that conversation with me. And that's when I have to go back to the special needs community. Because every day I wake up, I want my son to be accepted in this world. I want him to have a place where it's not about your awareness and it's not about your blue light bulb, and I do thank you for that. But the truth of the matter is, if I don't answer your questions and put myself out there, there will never ever be a world where my son is accepted. So as a patient, I bare myself to people and I say, ask me what you need to know about how to use this plant to make your life be better. I'll share everything I know. It's not a lot, but it's all I've got, and I can help you become a part of this. Because if you want to be somebody to say in 5 years, I was here, you have to be an advocate, you have to be an educator. And that sometimes means bearing yourself. So that's what I do, that's who I am. If I can help tonight, help you understand the program and how to become a part of it, and what the program will mean as we move forward to legalization, that's what I'll be here for at the end of the night.